This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
The following episode of Charlotte Cooks is brought to you by Central Piedmont Community College and viewers like you. Thank you.
Coming up on this episode of Charlotte Cooks, we're making cake with Kool Aid. Welcome to this edition of Charlotte Cooks. And joining us today is our old, I don't want to call you old, is our really good friend, Oscar Johnson from Jimmy Pearls. And he's also been one of the most exciting things that's happened in a long time is the semi-finalist for the James Beard Awards.
Yep.
That's a big deal, guys. And also in 2022, you were
NCRLA Chef of the Year,
which is North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association. Yep. They have a contest every year, and Oscar won. And so it's really kind of fun to have our big people in Charlotte really getting a lot of good Carolina recognition.
I appreciate that, Chef.
And so what are you going to make for us today? You got a really unique recipe.
So I'm really excited about this one. We're making a Jello Cake today. We're going to make it with some Kool Aid, though.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, it's made with the flavored gelatin, but I'm going to put my own creative spin on it like I always do. But this is a nice, cool, refreshing summer dessert. And like I said, this just takes me back home to the summer months of having this very exciting dish. So I'm excited.
And you mentioned to me earlier that your grandma used to make this.
Yeah, my grandmother, my mom, those are the two ladies that I most remember, but I'm pretty sure there's some other family members who have made this recipe as well. But Mama, this is for you. Like we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this today, and like I said, I've been making it a lot this summer. My mom even made a boozy version of it.
Oh,
so there's some exciting twists you can put on this cake.
Okay,
Yep.
All right. Well, let's make Mama proud.
Let's do it.
All right. So what do we have to do to make this cake?
Okay, so first we want to get all of our ingredients down for the pound cake. So this pound cake is a very special pound cake recipe. This is my wife's grandmother's recipe. You can certainly use a box cake. You can, use a very basic vanilla cake recipe for this. But we just have all of our ingredients together, and we're gonna sift our flour. Gonna go ahead and get that started so we can have a nice light and fluffy cake, so that when we pour that gelatin in there, everything will soak up real nicely. So we're gonna start by sifting our all-purpose flour. I'm gonna sift all of this in here like that.
And what's the purpose of sifting the flour, Oscar?
So we want to get the clumps out. We don't want any clumps in the batter, and this will also make this nice and light for us. So we're just gonna move this around. And then Grandma, in her recipe, it says to sift twice. So we've already had, and it also depends on the flour that you have. I like to use a really nice, light, all-purpose flour. It doesn't have too many clumps in it. So we're gonna get all that incorporated. And this is just like any standard baking recipe. You wanna kind of get all of your dry ingredients nice and meased out and prepped, and then have all of your wet ingredients. And this is a real simple
add your wet to your dry.
Add your wet to your dry. Yep. And correction, we will be adding dry to wet in this situation, because we're going to cream our butter and sugar, eggs and oil all together
and then mix it in.
Exactly. We've got some baking powder that's going to go in. I've already got salt in my flour, about a pinch. So a pinch is about a quarter teaspoon. All right, got that there.
Good.
All right, so our dry ingredients are all set. So in this separate bowl here, we want to start with some butter. That is room temperature. Room temperature is key to having this cake be like nice and evenly spread out and everything. You don't want the ingredients to be cold, because when you bake it, it's not going to bake properly. So. And
speaking about that, your eggs need to be room temperature as well.
Exactly.
Because if you put cold eggs in with room temperature butter, it's going to make your butter cold again.
Yep.
And so you want to make sure everything is room temperature so it all combines nice and smooth.
Yep. Nice smooth batter is what we want every single time when we're working with cakes. I'm going to go ahead and add the oil. So this, you can use canola or vegetable. And for my home cooks, this is old school right here, using the electric hand mixer.
It is.
You can certainly use a KitchenAid, but I know a lot more people have a hand mixer at home, or they're more likely to have a hand mixer. So we want to go about medium speed on this. And how's that for a bit of nostalgia?
I know, right?
Being in the kitchen with grandma or whoever.
It even smells like Grandma's kitchen with that mixer going. They have the smell to them, don't they?
Yep.
That's funny.
We want to get this nice and smooth. This probably take about 5 minutes max, just to kind of get everything nice and incorporated. All right, so we have our butter, we have our eggs, we have our oil and sugar all in here. Well, we have our eggs getting ready to go in, but it's very important to stop every once in a while, scrape the sides of the bowl and make sure everything is incorporated, because as this bakes, we want everything to be fully incorporated. We don't want clumps of butter that will melt and just kind of have the cake, you know, baked dark in some areas, light in others. So we want to go back and just make sure we scrape. And this applies when we add the dry ingredients too. So we're going to go ahead and add our eggs all at once. And the eggs are going to give us a nice color on this cake.
Yeah, there's that yellow coming out from all those yolks.
Yep, it's going to be a nice golden brown. And Grandma B made this. I mean, this is amazing. When I first started dating my wife, you know, I had this pound cake so many times.
Yeah, I bet.
And it was just a hit every single time. So when I went to New York, I was invited by Chef Ricky Moore, who's also a 2022 Best Chef Southeast,
nice,
James Beard Award winning chef.
Oh, he won. Okay, good.
So he allowed us to come to New York with him for a special installation that he did for North Carolina Seafood.
Oh, nice.
So I made a punch bowl cake using this recipe, which is just a pound cake cut up in small pieces and made into a trifle. And it was a huge hit. Everyone loved it out there. So
I bet.
Big ups to Grandma B. May she continue to rest. All right, so next we are going to go ahead and add those dry ingredients. So this is our flour, salt, and baking powder.
It's been sifted twice.
Yep, sifted twice. Yep, we're all good to go. We'll go ahead and mix this in here so we can get our baking powder all nice and incorporated. All right, we're good to go. So we're going to go in. We're just going to add a little bit at a time. Just make sure everything gets in there nice and smooth. So we won't do medium speed. We'll go low speed on here. We don't want flour everywhere.
Right. Right, it will go airborne real quick if you just put it all in there at once.
Yep, and it's okay if you get a little bit. That means you're working. All right, so we're gonna go in with a little bit more. And so after this will be it'll be our whole milk, and it'll be the lemon extract and the vanilla extract.
Okay.
And so that milk is just gonna kind of tie everything together and just smooth this batter out even more. And it's gonna be amazing.
It looks good.
Yeah, this is not.
We're giving your mixer a workout.
Oh yeah, we are. So be ready. So like I said, you can use your KitchenAid mixer for this, and it still applies as far as the low speed or the medium speed initially.
And here is your lemon extract and your vanilla.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. And you can certainly use whatever flavoring you would like that is compatible with a fruit flavored gelatin. So if you got like some orange extract, you want to get some, you want to get crazy with it, throw some lime or rum extract even, that'll work. But we're going to do lemon and vanilla today.
Sounds nice.
So we're going to go ahead with our vanilla extract. And we're not going to use all this lemon. We're going to put like a nice little touch in there. And you can certainly add some lemon zest to this to kind of bring that lemon flavor out some more. So we're adding in our whole milk now. You're gonna preheat your oven to 325, hour and 15 minutes. Nice and fluffy. All right. So we are all good with our mixer. And so as a kid, I used to love, just like a lot of kids, look in the bowl once all the batter is in there. I mean, it wasn't until later I found out you're not supposed to consume raw eggs.
Or raw flour.
Or raw flour, but whatever. I'm still here. Growing up, we didn't have KitchenAid mixers and all that stuff.
We drank out of the hose.
Yep,
we drank out of the beaters. We ate raw flour, raw eggs, and we were still alive.
Everything great about summer, like
we're
all
not
those
going
memories.
through heads or
So we want to get this real nice and sprayed out because we are going to flip this cake over eventually for presentation, and we want it to slip out nice and easy.
Slide right on out of that pan.
All right, I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of sugar at the bottom just to ensure that our cake is going to come out. So Chef, we have a 13x9 aluminum pan. This is just how it's traditionally done. If you have like a baking dish, you can certainly use that.
Like a glass baking dish?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep, something shallow so that this cake can bake evenly. You don't want it too deep, you know, because it'll probably call for a longer bake time. But we got this nice and sprayed.
And it's aluminum, so we need to put something under it to support it, right?
Exactly, because the weight of this batter is going to cause it to be a little flimsy. So when it goes in the oven, we don't want our cake turning over as it bakes.
And we don't want it, folding in half when we pick it up either.
Exactly. So we want to keep a nice, even
there you go.
shape. Yep.
Oh, look at that batter. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Nice and smooth. I'm 32 years old and I'm still tempted to take the rest of this batter and get me a nice little spoon. And I'm just so tempted. We have a little bit left. If you have some mini bundt pans, or if you have a silver spoon, you know, you can eat some of this batter. Don't eat too much. We don't want you getting sick.
No.
But this little bit of batter that's left is cool. You can just put it in like some mini bundt pans, and you can certainly do the same process.
Little cupcakes even.
Little cupcakes, yep, that'll work. All right, so we're nice and secure. We're going to give it a nice little shake. Make sure it's even. And I am not, I like to call myself a fake pastry chef. I bake a little bit, but this is one of the things that I do very well. So I love doing the Jello cake. So 325, hour and 15 minutes. We go in the oven with it. We want to make sure when it comes out, poke a hole, make sure that that batter comes out clean.
Okay,
and then we're good
just
to
like
go.
You do with every other cake, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep.
So now we've got the cake in the oven.
Yep.
We've got an hour and 15 minutes to wait.
Yes.
We're going to get the Kool Aid ready.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we're going to do the frosting, right?
Yep.
All right, so what do we need to do to make the Kool Aid?
So you follow your package instructions to make about a quart of tropical punch mix.
Okay.
So you can use any flavor you like, but this is what we are going with today. And red is just awesome. It's a nice bright color.
And then it'll show up in the cake too.
Yes, it definitely will. It's going to be so beautiful. Like once you see the little marbling, and it's natural too. You know, when you poke the holes in there, you'll just kind of see how everything nicely comes along. But it's usually like a swirl when it's all said and done. So,
that'd be nice.
But we're going to add a little pucker to this. So it got the zest of one lime. This is a summertime thing, so you really want some nice, vibrant flavors, you know, coming out.
Citrus is just nothing but summer.
Cannot go wrong with it.
Especially lemon and lime.
Yep. You can do lemon and lime, but we're going to just do lime here. Like I said, I got a tropical punch mix here, so just kind of want to enhance that. At the end of the day, it's still, you know, just
so if you use
Kool-Aid.
strawberry Jello in here, you could put strawberries in here.
Yep. You can fold some nice diced strawberries in there. And we're just going to get the juice. Yep, strawberry puree. So we're going to add the juice of a lime as well. And we're not going to boil this. We just want to get it hot just so that we melt that gelatin in there real nicely.
All right.
So we're going to go ahead and get all that lovely juice.
So we've got a medium heat on this.
Yes, we do.
And what we're going to do next, because we got to make this into a Jello-like consistency. So we're going to, instead of adding a flavored Jello, we're using plain gelatin today.
Plain gelatin, yep. So this is sweetened juice. So we've already got the sugar and everything in there. We've got the powdered gelatin, about 2 tablespoons to 1.5 cups of cold water. So the reason we want to bloom this and we want to stir it is that it's nice and incorporated and doesn't have any clumps.
Cold water, not hot water.
Yep, just cold water to this and give it a nice little stir.
And then you just let it sit.
Yep, just let it sit for a little while. We want to get this nice and incorporated. I think I'm going to actually use that whisk over there.
Okay, there you go.
Get a nice, break up those lumps as much as possible.
So what's going to happen to the gelatin there is that the cold water is going to allow that gelatin to start absorbing that liquid.
Yep.
It just makes the gelatin work so much better.
Exactly. And this is good. This is what you want here. As it sets, it's going to set up more and more and more as we go along. And I think I have everything nice and incorporated here. And so this is nice and clear. All right, so our drink mix is pretty hot at this point. It's not boiling though. We don't want it boiling.
You don't want it boiling.
Yep, so we're just gonna go in with our gelatin.
So how hot do you want this? You're gonna ask. Just warm enough to melt that gelatin. You gotta cool it back down again.
Yep.
So there's no sense in getting it up to a boil.
Exactly. So we're just gonna whisk this in here and that's pretty much it. Once you got everything incorporated into here, we're just going to go ahead and shut our heat off.
So what you're looking for is melted sugar, melted gelatin. Everything is melted in liquid. There's no solids on the bottom of the pot.
Not at all. And then we can just kind of set this off the heat and just let that cool. And then we'll just be waiting for our cake to, you know, finish baking through. And like I said, you can just let this cool at room temperature, pour it over the cake once we poke the holes in it. And then that gelatin is going to take, or the whole cake is going to take about 8 hours to overnight.
Next, we're going to make our frosting.
Yes, we're going to make our sour cream frosting.
This is going to be a different kind of frosting because it's not going to be sugar and butter and sugar and butter. It's gonna be a nice, light, slightly acidic. It's almost like a cheesecake. I personally love having like that cheesecake flavor profile with a lot of things. So even when I dip fresh fruit into like, if I make a fruit dip, I like to kind of have like that cream cheese and like sugar mixture with a little bit of lemon, citrus, whatever. But this is gonna be a very special one. Okay, so what do we need to make this frosting?
So we got 16 ounces of sour cream.
All right.
So we're gonna go right in with that. And this should cover the whole cake. So a whole tub, whatever your favorite brand is.
And should this be low-fat sour cream or full-fat sour cream, or does that matter?
It doesn't matter. I mean, if you're trying to watch your figure, if you want to do the low-fat,
you shouldn't be eating cake.
You shouldn't be eating cake, so you might as well do the full-fat. And so we got about 3 ounces of cream cheese. And also, the great thing about recipes like this, personal preference, like if you want a little bit more cream cheese to kind of give it more of that cheesecake feel, just like I said, you can certainly add more. And so I'm going in with my powdered sugar. And this powdered sugar is going to give this some body, and it's going to bring everything together and make a really nice frosting. I'm back again with the lime. So we're going to go in with a full, because this is going to be a nice, it's not going to be super puckery like a key lime, but you're still going to get that fresh citrus and that strawberry. It's going to be really nice. And it's beautiful too. Look at that color. We haven't even mixed it together yet. So we're going to go ahead and do vanilla extract too. We're back with the hand mixer again, guys. So I'm gonna get all this stuff nice and incorporated.
So while you're mixing that, why don't you tell us a little bit about the James Beard Award?
Man, this is a very prestigious honor, first and foremost, and we're just so fortunate to have gotten that recognition. This is like, a lot of people like to call it the Oscars of the culinary,
it really is.
Culinary world. And so you just got like food writers, mixologists, storytellers, chefs, pastry chefs, all getting recognition for their hard work on a national scale. Just the way everything happened was just so organic. You know, my partner Daryl Cooper and I just worked hard, and I mean, we just looked up, and next thing you know, we're getting recognized for what we're doing with our food. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that you guys have really put your heart and soul into everything you've been doing.
Oh yeah,
and representing Virginia and Tidewater area.
Most importantly,
absolutely.
Most importantly. So what we're doing is the same thing that we did with the cake. We want to make sure we have room temperature cream cheese. So we break these lumps up, so we don't have a whole lot of lumps in this frosting. And just like we did with the cake too, we want to scrape the sides, get everything in there. And this is pretty much it. All right, so we're gonna, I just scraped the sides of the bowl again just to make sure we get, you know, we don't have any lumps or anything. This is super smooth. We're gonna let this kind of chill out for a little bit as we wait for that cake. So you can refrigerate this just to cool it down and make sure it stays nice and cold. So when we put it on top of that cake, be nice and smooth, it's not runny, and this is gonna be an awesome frosting. All right, and that's everything. That's nice. Real simple.
When you garnish your plates, you want your plates to reflect what is actually the flavors that you're going to be tasting. So because we have lime, because we have some tropical fruits, we're going to put some berries on there, and it's going to be very pretty, and it's going to be very delicious. So how do you, what kind of a...
All right, so we're going to do lime and strawberry today. You can certainly do pineapple, like if you want to slice pineapple, get a real nice thin, you know, pineapple in there. Whatever you have, it can be blueberries, whatever you want. Anything you have, right? Any summer fruit. We're gonna do seasonal. So I'm just gonna cut a real thin lime on here, something real simple, and just put a little slit in there.
You're gonna make a little twisty.
Oh yeah. And so this top of the strawberry, I know you go to some fancy restaurants and they'll just leave it on there, but you can't eat that. I mean, you can, but you can't, but we're not gonna.
I use it for a handle.
Yeah, there we go, look. Just use it as a handle, but we wanna make this easy to eat, so we're just gonna cut this top off of here. And just cut like some nice little slices. You could even cut these in quarters, however you're feeling on any given day. And we'll just kind of fan that on there. So we got that garnish set. So we're gonna get into the cake. Okay. All right, so our cake has cooled for 8 hours to overnight, right? So here we go. Turn it over onto whatever you're gonna serve it on. Yep, you can put it on a serving platter, whatever you have, a big old round plate, whatever you have available. And so during this process, we are going to poke holes in here so that that gelatin can seep through. Let's poke as many holes as possible. Now, can you poke big holes in there? Just prefer not to. Yeah, just a nice skewer or a toothpick. Okay. You know, nothing too crazy. Something small. We don't want to mangle the cake. So we got a good amount of holes poked here. We got our Jello mixture, and so I've already kind of done this step just because it takes so long to cool. So I just want to show the folks at home just a little bit of this Jello mixture. And before you add that, that's why they're seeing the pink in there now, isn't it? Because you've already done that step. Yep, and it looks like there's a lot of Kool Aid. So when you go to pour it in there, trust me, all of it, the cake is going to soak up that whole quart of Kool Aid. And you do it while it's still in the baking pan. Yes,
Okay.
Still in the baking pan. Like I said, the reason why we spray it so heavily is that when we turn this over, it can look beautiful just like this.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna take a little bit just so you guys can see how this process works. And it's gonna soak it right on up.
Ooh,
And
yeah, see how it soaks. Yeah.
Exactly, and you'll just do
like
a
a
lot more
sponge.
of this at home, and then you'll once again set this anywhere between 8 hours to overnight.
And you would use all of this?
All of it.
Okay.
It's gonna seem like a lot, trust me. The first time I ever made it, I was like, man, this is gonna be a whole lot, but it's gonna cover it. You're gonna get a nice marbled vanilla cake with the Kool Aid or the Jello mix.
So after we do this, we put it in the refrigerator for 8 hours or overnight.
Yep.
And then it's going to be all nice and cold. Your Jello is going to be nice and solidified. And now we get to frost it.
We get to frost
Okay.
it. So this is the favorite part right here. So we're just gonna put that on there.
Gonna let it run down the sides.
And let it run down the sides.
Like a ganache.
Yep. So we'll start with this nice little offset spatula. And this is some old school stuff, so it's not fancy
Yes, it
at all.
is.
Like I said, I'm a fake pastry chef, so I do not do this for real. I just know what tastes good. I know what I like. That's how I like to bake. I like to tap into old Southern desserts that people may have not heard of, or have forgotten about. And that is what I like to do with the little bit of pastry work that I do.
Nice.
Just got to go back and patch it up a little bit because we're going to slice this and it's going to look so nice. I'm going to have that fruit garnish on there. So this is the Jello cake.
All right.
So we're going to cut this and we're going to plate it. Get a nice little slice here. So we want to get a nice little square piece so you guys can kind of see. And so you can do, I think we can probably do about 4 by 4.
Okay.
3 by 4, kind of depending on how large you cut it.
Quite a few servings out of this.
Yep. All right, so we got a nice little square piece here. Like I said, guys, this is gonna be, watch this.
Oh.
And like I said, this could be made with any of your favorite fruit flavored gelatin, whatever you want to do. We're gonna slide this on over to the plate here.
Nice.
So we got our strawberry, got our little lime here. However you do the twisty thing. Nice little Jello cake, guys.
How beautiful. Looky there. Looky there. Oh, look at all that. Yes. Well, folks, here you go. Thank you, Oscar. This
No
looks
problem.
absolutely fantastic.
I'm glad I was able to share.
Old school recipes are the
Old
best.
school.
I am
That's it.
so
That's
happy
it.
you shared this one with us.
Kool Aid Jell-O Cake.
Kool Aid Jell-O Cake with sour cream and cream cheese frosting. You can modify it according to the flavors you want with whatever flavor gelatin.
If it's easier for you to follow that way, you can.
And if you wanted to make a vanilla pound cake, just as easy.
Yep.
So Oscar, thank you for joining us. And if you'd like to grab our recipes, get them off of pbscharlotte.org. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Charlotte Cooks. And we're going to catch you next time.
A production of PBS Charlotte.